Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome back to the 4-Digit Mania World Cup 2024. We are back at it once again with another very exciting round of 16 matchup. We have a losers bracket match. It is going to be Spain going up against Brazil, both which are fighting for their tournament lives in this best of 11 showdown. As always, my name is Mark, and I'm joined in commentary booth by none other than Pork is Great. Pork, it's been a while. How you doing?
We're doing pretty good right now. I just woke up, but I have been keeping up with this tournament during my free time while I was dealing with like the articles and stuff. So I do have kept up with everything that's going on, and this is a pretty interesting losers round of 16 match. This is Spain taking on Brazil. If you guys recall that Brazil lost in a tiebreaker against Peru in round of 32, and Spain losing 0-5 against the United States. Two teams with very interesting round of 32 matches, now taking on each other to find out who will be advancing into the losers quarterfinals.
Yeah, it's quite a bit of a departure. I think both these teams kind of restructuring. I think a lot of their best players are kind of graduating to that MWC level, like basically that echelon of player that they're needing to kind of find the new talent amongst their ranks. And I mean, both these two rosters have some pretty heavy hitting players. It's just trying to get the performances together to see them through. So, and as you mentioned, some pretty rough first round matchups. As you mentioned, Brazil losing to Peru in that tiebreaker, and then Spain having the unfortunate matchup against the United States kind of goes to show you that this is a pretty cutthroat competition already, and we're only around a 16.
Yeah, like you've mentioned with like different rosters. Brazil having a completely new roster this year, and I did interview the team last year, in which most of them are thinking about like most of the rosters like Bvu, Sore, Zerg, Nayani, Bunny, Makiki, and J4. Most of them have like wanted to stop with like tournament competitions, but I know some of them have been like still been around to organize tryouts, which is what you have this current Brazil team in front of you. So in terms of what this team is capable of, even though if they did lose, I still think they still have something in the tank for the team to be able to go on a nice run. But in terms of if we're going to see them to be like maybe like contenders, I wouldn't want to keep my hopes up if you're from Brazil. But considering this is more so of a rebuilding year for them, I mean, considering with how they did against Peru, I mean, I feel like even regardless of whatever happens in this match, I think they have impressed me that they're going to be a country to watch out for again in a few years.
Yeah, for sure. They can definitely build on the experiences. And on the other side, we have Spain, as we mentioned, swept by the United States, but I mean, they're also in a bit of a rebuild, and similar to Brazil, it's basically just two teams in the same boat, where it's like a lot of your best players are already moving on to like MWC. A lot of the other folks that have been around in the past couple of years have moved on, and now you're trying to find the players that haven't really poked their head in or around the tournament scene and are kind of either making their debut or like a couple tournaments in and in a team setting, just trying to figure out, okay, what are we good at? What are we capable of bringing to a table in a tournament like this? Because, I mean, 29th seed, you're clinging on to the bottom of the bracket, and you're trying to kind of take positives out of the experience. And as we get into the second warm up, I mean, once we get into the map pool proper and start going through those protects, and then the bans and stuff like that, we'll really start to see what the dynamic of this match is going to be, because we saw a true LN versus Rice dichotomy match with Brazil and Peru, both of which choosing opposite ends of the map pool, winning their own picks, no breakpoints, and we just made it to the tiebreaker. We just hand shook all the way to the tiebreaker. I wonder if that's going to be different going into this match if either team decides to encroach on each other's quote-unquote turf in the map pool.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. As you mentioned, both teams with completely new rosters. Spain, however, has Mini Creamy, or now known as Era Mini Creamy, returning as that player is the only player returning from last year's 40M roster for Spain. So I mean, Spain does have someone with the experience in this level of competition, so it might give Spain an edge as to figuring out what will be like how they're going to approach this match from start to finish. And no, this is again going to be a pretty interesting match to see with both teams, but both teams are trying to fight their way to be able to get their first win in this tournament. And unfortunately for the other, like, whoever loses is going to be eliminated.
Yeah, fighting for their tournament lives, and that will do it for the warm-ups. So we'll have the captains throw out their roles, see the brand new fresh map pool for them to duke it out over. It looks like Spain wins the role. 67 is indeed higher than 47. So looks like Spain will be protecting first.
Yep. So this means that Brazil's getting the first ban, right?
I believe so, yes. It'll be ABBA order. And if we're wrong, I mean, that's what the referee's for. They kind of straighten us out whenever we don't know what we're talking about, which is, I mean, some can argue. But right now, it looks like it's going to be Rice 5 getting removed, or getting protected, rather. Marty skipping forward. So that'll stay here.
Yeah.
Now we wait for Brazil.
Alrighty, so from what I remembered with this from last year's Brazil team, Brazil, I think one of their weaknesses that they kind of struggled with was long nodes, and even though they were pretty competitive in that department, it was just like a bit inconsistent, if I will say. I'm wondering if this team has been able to get like if they are able to build a roster that quite is able to form lineups in all maps, because well, they do have like the talent, which is how they finished in 4th place last year. But you know, especially against some really tough competition like last year against Canada in the losers finals, that's, you know, making, like, depending on who can play, like, you know, these type of maps, especially in the late stage, can make up a big difference and could give some players or analysts some idea of how teams will able to perform in competition, as Rice 3 is going to be protected by
Gonna be banned.
Yeah, Rice 3 is going to be banned, as Brazil will protect SV2.
And then Spain answering back with the SV1 ban. So the rare SV protect, not unheard of, but I always like to say whenever SV is in the pool, usually a frequent target of those bans. So seeing a team actually go out of the way to protect one of them means that either they've practiced it or they feel like their opponent didn't practice it. So be very interesting to see when and if Brazil pull that out of their back pocket to try and pull a fast one on Spain. Wouldn't be surprised if they either use it as an opening or maybe as a way to kind of correct course if things start going wrong. But we're going to start things off on Spain's pick. It's going to be Rice 4.
Rice 4. Yeah, speaking of SV, I find it pretty surprising. I've watched the second match of the weekend, Vietnam versus Japan, and Japan choosing SV2 and actually losing on SV2 was honestly quite surprising for me.
Yeah, that is quite the rarity. And as we have the song loaded up now, it is going to be cartographer Adrig and ADR 053. Gonna be interesting keeping track of those two on the bottom side of the Spain lobby versus, at the moment, Namarin Chan, Sutin, and Zikuri.
Yeah, I've recognized I've recognized Sutin's name before. So I think I've recognized him in some servers I'm in with him. So I do definitely like regardless of like what the rosters look like, I mean all I know is that they do have some tournament experience, but not into the case of like what 4DM offers. Like it's really just like when I think of 4DM, it's more so of like you can kind of like say minor leagues to the major leagues, which is MWC, but it does give them like a really good opportunity to be able to get themselves familiarized with big time competition like this one.
Yeah, for sure. And it looks like both teams are starting to settle their rosters in here. We see ADR depart. We bring in Mini Crimi for Spain. And it looks like Brazil is going to bring in Villanovinho to round out their roster. It looks like players are readying up. All we're waiting on is for that all-important MP start command. We're going to get into this first map of this best of 11. First team to 6 points this weekend will be seeing themselves through. Loser in this match will be eliminated. Good luck.
Alrighty, so first map is underway. We're having a bit of banjo.
There we go.
There we go. First map is underway. It's going to be interesting to see how these two teams will do, and definitely with this being Spain's pick, they would want to start off pretty strong.
Yeah, you don't want to give away a break point to start a match off. That would be not ideal. But for right now, a bit of a primer before jumping into some of the more broken up jump stream patterning, some bursts here and there to try and trip you up, but everybody's staying firm. Accuracy starting to waver a little bit across both sides, but hovering around that 99.6 mark across the board, not really accounting for much of a lead between the two countries, flickering back and forth as we make our way into the first drop here.
You're getting to the first Ki right now. We are seeing this is what I believe to be somewhat of like a Swedish map. I mean, you can see a bit spike up of density notes here and there, but so far it's looking to be pretty even right now for both teams.
Yeah, not a lot separating these two rosters. You have some folks starting to trail a little bit behind. You have Suits at 99.5 for them. Lowest actually in this lobby, but Villa finds the first drop, and that's going to give Spain the first real advantage of this chart. It was flickering back and forth for that entire first half, but now about 8,000 points, skyrocketing into the lead for now. No trades back on their side, despite some accuracy drops here and there. Gonna keep monitoring for now. It's not out of the woods just yet for them. They need to keep it clean as we continue on. Vila now back up with that 400 combo cap. Gonna be able to get full credit for their judgments with 2 FCs still on the side of Brazil. Can they make this comeback as we take a break now?
I don't know. I just seen a 200 drop coming from Brazil. That's just going to make it slightly difficult for them to come back. And in terms of like this break session, this is only going to give Spain some time to be able to take this one away to get their own point in this first map. It was definitely a right choice for what Spain wanted to start off with, sending out a statement message to Brazil that they are here to really giving them a tough time if they want to be able to beat them. in this matchup right now.
Yeah, for sure. Last couple of bursts coming through in this outro, everybody managing to hang on. I think we're past the realm of potential catastrophic collapses. And as the song comes to an end, Spain will successfully pick up their first point in this match. A singular 200 from Cartographer for Spain, picking up the MVP here. 993, standing up above everybody else with the support of Adrig and Mini Krimi, lending their support. What a run.
Yeah, some really good performances from Sikuri and Sutin as well.
Mm-hmm.
But, cartography are with the 993, almost a V1 double S, which is very impressive. This is what Spain really needed, and the struggles of Villain of Vinho on this map kind of really helps Spain take it with a huge advantage to start off, which is a difference maker on Rice 4. But Brazil is now up, and so they're gonna have to pick their first map on this matchup right now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they decide to go for. Maybe not wanting to commit too hard to one side of the pool or the other. They do have that SV that they protected in the back pocket if they want to kind of toe the line a little bit. That being said, you do also have the hybrids if you don't want to commit fully to the LNs. It's just a matter of what they want to start this match off with. That first map actually wasn't that bad for Brazil in terms of performance. It just came down to the singular miss. If they can three-way FC something on Spain's pick, they have a pretty decent shout of taking a break point away from them, but it looks like it's going to be LN3, so Please is going to come out here.
Alright. LN3, that's going to be a pretty interesting map. LN3, the shortest LN map in the pool. So this is going to, or wait, no, I'm looking at the. Oh no, it's not. It's the shortest. I mean, it's only 2 minutes, but it's the third highest. It's basically the third highest in terms of length in the LN department. I was looking at the round of 32 pool. My bad.
Yeah, it do be like that sometimes, but right now we do see some substitutions coming through here. Mini Krimi departing. We see Nutelinia come in. Wonder who they're going to replace on this Brazilian roster. That, or they're just saying hi. Could always be a possibility. Yeah, no, Mini Krimi does check back in. ADR for Adrig gonna come in. We see Villanovinho depart instead. Nutelinia takes their place. And it looks like we have our 6 players. Namarin, Z Curry, Cartographer, Mini Krimi staying put for this map.
Yeah. This is going to be interesting to see if Brazil is able to rebound after losing on race 4, and considering I believe if Spain protected race 5, I think this might give them a bit of an idea of what they want to go next, or if they want to use race 5 as like a trump card in some sorts to be able to use that to their advantage in case if things do go wrong over on the side of Spain.
Alrighty, and we get the MP star command coming through here. Gonna load into the second map of this best of 11. Got 4 out of 6. 5. Can we get number 6? We'll get number 6 in a little bit. There we go.
There we go.
Already into the map.
Alright, pretty good starts coming from everyone here. I mean, it's barely by about 1,000 or now 5,000 point deficit for Spain, but Brazil having a pretty good start right now on this LN3 right now.
Yeah, it's really off the back of Spain. Mini Krimi picking up quite a bit of an actually drop. ADR not too far behind as well, lingering in that 98% range. Gonna need to pick it up a little bit, and that's really accounting for the bulk of this Brazilian lead at the moment. All three of their players around that 99.5% mark, about 0.5% ahead as a team compared to Spain as we get into this first real break section going into the second third of the chart. And as we take stock of the situation, 6 for 6 on the FCs at the moment. Nobody's found a break so far once we get past this little break section. But as I say that, Cartographer gonna find the break here, a little bit of a slider break in the calm section before the real build-up begins again.
Yeah, getting into this Ki section right here. Brazil's looking pretty comfortable on this map. Curry with the highest accuracy in the lobby with a 99.64. Not too far behind with a 99.59. These two Brazilian players with the highest act in the lobby right now. Cartographer with the third highest act in the lobby, but had just broke. So that's really not going to help Spain with this one, as Brazil's looking really comfortable with this map on LN3, as they're gonna be able to respond right back with this point from their own pick. So no breakpoints in this first set, but it is now Spain's turn. Now, Sparky, I did have the chance to look at the LN pool from statistics from last week. Brazil looks, you mentioned about like how it's basically a rice versus LN philosophy when it came down to, say, Brazil versus Peru. It might just be the same thing with Spain versus Brazil. Brazil having number 3 or number 3 in the for team rankings in LN2 and LN3. So, and Spain definitely outperformed Brazil on all the rice maps that Spain was able to play against Brazil.
Yeah, I get where you're going there. But yeah, I mean, could potentially shape up to be that way, but we have a bit of a spanner in the works now. We got SV2 coming out here. The Brazilian Protect gonna be picked by Spain, actually.
That
kind of a curveball. So
I think I mean, I guess, that's definitely of a mind game that they're playing on Brazil.
A potential power move in the works. It could definitely turn the tide of this match if Spain is able to pull this off. Not all the real possibility. SV is one of those skill sets where all you need is one real bad section to kind of throw an entire score away. So it'll be interesting to see who steps in for this chart. It looks like we have level 3 playing for Spain checking in. Haven't seen any other substitutions. Curry stepping in here. I think they have been here, but as I say that, the players are ready. We're going to get into this next map, and this could potentially set the tone for the rest of this match this early on.
Yep, SV2. This is just going to be interesting, and we can see some teleports right at the start. It's a lot of, this map is definitely, you need some memorization if you want to be able to play this map. So it's pretty obvious that both teams did practice on this map, but Cartographer with the first break, which might not help for Spain, but Natanliha with the trade back as well. But Brazil's looking really comfortable with this map right now.
Yeah, for sure. Unnoticed at the very beginning, Minikrimi actually finding a break as well for the Spanish side. So it's currently 2-1 in terms of drops. Level 3 playing the only FC for Spain, Namarin and Zikuri holding the fort down for Brazil, but it is 30,000 points off the back of the accuracy as well. That really does come into play on these types of maps, and Namarin Chan 99.87, really locking it down. Not really falling for any of these gimmicks, just maintaining pristine accuracy at the moment as we get into this next build-up, already into the back half of the chart. Gotta trust yourself. Anticipation, the name of the game in this section, and everybody nailing it so far, but this score lead only grows by the second in favor of Brazil. 89,000 points despite nobody finding any misses. That is just raw accuracy coming into play at the moment here as we cross our way into the last quarter here.
Yeah, I think Brazil, after this map ends, the players would definitely feel much relieved that, you know, they were able to take this break point from Spain. And it may ask Spain, it just may ask the players from Spain what they were thinking, trying to go a bit outside of the box, for especially when it comes to like a protected SV pick against Brazil. But regardless, this is a position Spain definitely doesn't want to be in now, but it is now Brazil's turn to really try to capitalize on Spain's mistake.
Yeah, for sure. A golden opportunity for Brazil to double up on the points here. And Natalia saying in the lobby chat, their keycap flew off during that map. That probably accounts for that drop that they had very early on there. But the fact that they were able to recover and basically hit their switch for the rest of it, thankfully it was on the SV chart, not the densest of charts in this pool. If it were something like Rice 1 or 2, that probably would have been a completely different story, but thankfully not going to make that much of a difference as Brazil opts to go for LN1.
Ooh, yep, they're going to. I mean, they really liked with what happened on LN3, and if I'm probably anticipating Brazil, they have definitely done their homework on Spain. I think they're probably gonna stick with the script with what they have, not to go with anything unusual. As they're gonna, I'm pretty sure they're going to try to exhaust out all of the LN maps. I still no LN maps haven't banned yet, but I forgot like there's a mid-match bans that is also coming up too, so I think Spain would want to capitalize on that as well.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. For now, I mean, speaking to it, I mean, Spain definitely no slouch on these LNs either. It really just came down to a bit of an accuracy difference between the two countries. If Spain can keep 3 runs going during this map and maybe catch Brazil on a couple of inopportune misses, they can definitely get this breakpoint back. But I would imagine all bets would be on Brazil to kind of lock it down on these LN picks, similar to how they did it against Peru.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting nonetheless. Brazil definitely performed very well on the LN maps, and as Spain is now in this position where they're definitely playing in Brazil's most comfortable department, and so they want to be able to try and get themselves back. You know, not only will they have to try to take one LN map away, but they're gonna have to try to I think if I were Spain, I would have to ban a LN map just so they could like basically prevent Brazil from exhausting out all LN opportunities to be able to take the rest of the points from LNs alone.
Yeah, for sure. But as we get this one started, we wait for Zikuri to load in. Won't comment too much on this score difference. We're going to see a bit of a pause, so it's going to get a little bit goofy as we continue on here. Gonna see a little bit of a desync, and right on cue we'll see as Zikuri loads in and they're about to start. So we're gonna see a little bit of a desync as we wait for Zikuri to catch up. We're gonna see the score lead shrink immensely as once we reach the end of this chart. Wouldn't be surprised if this one just kind of ended abruptly, so just be forewarned for everybody watching along. But nice little recap of what's happened so far, and no drops from Z Curry so far as they cross that 400 combo cap. We start bringing everybody else back into the fold, and we get the Spanish roster. It is just all over the place as we are now caught up here.
Yeah, Curry having the best start out of everyone in the lobby. So this is going to definitely give Brazil a slight edge, but Namirin Chan and Delinha with also some really good accuracies as well. Everyone in Brazil holds the top 3 in the lobby, top 3 accuracies in the lobby right now.
Oh, and Cartographer finding the first drop going into the back half. Arguably one of the least opportune times to find a drop, as everybody's already comfortably above that 400 combo cap, so it's going to help extend this lead for Brazil at the moment. Also on top of the fact that ADR finds a drop as well, so 2 FCs down for Spain. As we continue on here, lead grows to about 35,000 points as Brazil are just dialed in as a team on these LNs at the moment, separated by what, hundredths of a percent across each other. This is a very balanced performance so far from them as we take a tiny bit of a break, a little bit of coordination coming through with a couple of bursts interspersed, and we make our way into the last quarter.
Yeah, it's looking to be Brazil's game. It's looking to be Brazil's map to lose, as they're just looking really comfortable. And if they looked really comfortable on LN3, man, this LN1 shows you their true potential. Oh, Nitalina with the break, but it really doesn't matter. They just looked really comfortable with the accuracies displayed, and that's just what Brazil needed to take this 3rd point to make it 3-1.
Yeah, so successfully able to capitalize on that break point, and now it will be Spain up to ban. And like we were talking about before this pick started, would not be surprised if we saw one of these remaining LNs get removed from the pool to kind of just pinch the options for Brazil moving forward. They do still have the hybrids to work with. There are some LN leaning hybrids in this pool, but probably don't want to mess with those until absolutely necessary. So we'll wait to see what Spain decide to go for here.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to think about this very carefully, I think they want to really go forward to see which LN maps do they see themselves having a small possibility to be able to beat Brazil in. But as you mentioned, they also gotta take some hybrids into consideration, as well as those hybrids. Some hybrids, as we see here, is something that Brazil could resort to as an alternative option in case if one of the LNs might get banned. I mean, even regardless, this is definitely Brazil's game that they're in right now. They just have to find a way to get one breakpoint back from Brazil to make it even up again.
Yeah, for sure. So right now still waiting on that decision from Spain, what the pick is going to be for this ban. And I mean, like I said, we can deliberate all we want. We've kind of thrown out potential avenues of strategy for this roster, and I mean, in my experience, usually whenever we talk about like, well, this is like the surefire thing they should do, they hit us with a curveball, and next thing you know, they're gonna like ban Rice 1 or something, and we're just gonna sit here and wonder why.
Yeah, that could just be the case. Spain is definitely taking their sweet time. I would think they would probably decide something by now.
Yeah, I mean, they did this last week, or they've gone through this procedure last week, so they're no strangers to it. So I'm wondering if maybe just a little bit of client lag. You know how sometimes messages like just don't appear sometimes. So either we're missing something, or maybe just a little bit of delay. But we'll get that pick in eventually. Worst case, I mean, our referee can just roll to decide. So there we go. It was a bit of delay. So it was LN2 that's going to be the ban. So yes, Thank you, Bancho. You are the most wonderful client held together by Silly String, and we appreciate you.
Alrighty, the question is now, what is Brazil going to ban?
They don't get one in return. So it will be Spain up to pick once again. This will be for their map choice. So now we can deliberate about what the picks moving forward are going to be for them. I imagine they're going to go for Rice. I would want to go for Jump Stream. Just something simple.
I think, maybe they could go for jump streams, but as I've learned from like early game jump streams, I still think it's even when it comes to like early game jump streams, it really just comes down to accuracy. And Rice 4 definitely might be a bit I mean, it's a speedy, like a bit of a density speedy map. And so I feel like with something like jump streams, it's definitely that Brazil can definitely do decent, or at least do somewhat well to be able to catch up. We have to remember this, on that Rice 4, it was kind of like flickering from the first half. And alright, okay, so wait.
Yeah, we're catching up here on the chat, and it looks like Rice 5 was the pick here. I'm just waiting to confirm.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that entire keypad just like all of a sudden popped up with all of the messages. I was like, what the?
There was an entire novel written in chat in the time that it took for it to hit the servers and come back to us so we could relay the information. I don't see anybody arguing about the pick, which is nice. So I'm assuming that it is going to be Rice 5 coming through here. So not going for the more standard quote-unquote Rice picks, either the speed or the jump stream. We're going to go for Rice 5, a little bit more mixed in terms of its stylistic interpretations. So we'll see who checks in for these two rosters. I see Villanovinho in the lobby, might be replacing, looks like replacing Namarin. And Adric they both just need to swap. They're defecting to each other's countries. Adric is going to Brazil at the moment.
Alrighty, so definitely going to be interesting to see how well these teams perform on Rice 5. But I do think for Brazil, this is a golden opportunity to be able to try to be able to beat Spain. And if they can do it in this Rice 5 and on Spain's own Protect, I think that's going to give some sort of idea of what this match could look like at the end until the end of the match, pretty much. So it's going to be interesting. Edrig, Mini Krimi, Cartographier is going to come in for Spain. Over on Brazil, Sutin, Zikuri, and Dinlinha will come in on the blue side. Good luck, have fun. It's going to be said around the lobby. So they're looking to start shortly.
Yeah, just waiting on the ready ups. Everybody being good sports about this match so far. Always love to see it. And right now we will be getting underway. Will be the 5th map of this best of 11. Brazil currently up 3-1. Looking to try and make it a 4th if they can get this next break point. Spain looking to try and right the ship a little bit. Need to take one back to restore parity. And we are officially underway. Can we get 6 for 6 on the first go? Yes, we can.
Alrighty. It's going to be interesting to see how well these teams will do. For Spain, this is a must-win map on Rice 5. It's just going, and definitely they want to be able to perform at their best on this one, because especially on their own Protect, they need to be able to stay ahead of Brazil by any means. And we're just looking at like these a bit more like a more funkier patterning at the start, but everybody's looking pretty comfortable right now at the start, but it will depend on how these 6 players will do on consistency until the end of the map.
Yeah, this opening quarter boding very well for the Spanish side. A tiny bit of an accuracy drop. I think I saw 100 from Mini Crimmy in this opening section, but right now holding it together. 99.7s on average for them. Nuttalinia actually finding a bit of damage as we continue on into the second third. Lowest accuracy in this lobby so far. Suta not too far behind. Gonna need to pick it up together as a team to try and put a dent in the Spanish lead, already growing to about 8,000 points despite all 6 FCs still staying on the board. But as I say that, it's a little bit too much for Nuttalinia to handle as we get into this bit of a breakdown section, and they are the first ones to drop, and it doubles the advantage for Spain moving into the back half of the chart now.
Yeah, definitely you could kind of see like similar dense notes coming in on this section right here, almost similar to how we've seen in Rice 4. Definitely a good choice by Spain, and definitely much needed pick for what they needed. Sutu will find just another break just now all over on the side of Brazil, but Cartografiar will find a drop, but it's not too much of a drop though. Well, they do trade. Spain and Brazil will find a trade, but Mini Crimmy will find a drop now. But there's only less than a quarter of the map left to go. I don't think Brazil will have enough time unless if there's a chain break coming from one player of Spain.
Yeah, I think they've done just enough to secure enough of a lead that those 2 drops aren't going to make that much of a difference. Take it a little bit dicey there in the end, maybe a bit of a hard-to-mouth moment for both of those players. But at the end of the day, another drop from Mini Crimmy for the road, not answered back by Brazil. Lead shrinks to about 20,000 points, but they, once again, have done enough, and they secure their second point in this match to make it 2-3.
Yeah, only a 1,000-point deficit after that second break from Mini Crimmy, but regardless, Spain's just looking really comfortable on Rice 5, and which is what they really need to be able to take down Brazil to make it 2-3. But definitely now Brazil's up, and we're probably going to go back into using. They're probably gonna pick LN4 or LN5 to be able to try get themselves to stay ahead in this match right now.
Yeah, for sure. I do want to draw attention as well. 2 of those scores were inside of like 20 points of each other. It was pretty interesting. 2 990Ks with, like I said, a couple of points difference between the 2 of them. Goes to show how close these can get between these 2 rosters, and it looks like it will be LN4 sticking to their script for Brazil. It will be Beatrice coming out now to continue this momentum that they have built up. Don't really need to worry about giving Spain the rice picks if they can just hold their own on these LNs. If they can win these next 2, they secure themselves at least a match point situation and leave Spain with it all to do to try and find that breakpoint in response.
Yep. So definitely going to be interesting to see how will Spain perform on this LN4 by Lexire, as this map is less than 2 minutes. It's only 1 minute and 50 seconds long. It's it's the shortest LN map in the pool right now. Spain banning LN2, which was the longest LN map, so definitely going to definitely didn't want to play a longer map that may pertain with like consistency, but it's going to be interesting to see how well these teams will do on like a shorter LN map.
Yeah, not a lot of room for error on these shorter length maps. Misses are basically amplified in terms of the amount of damage that they do to your overall team score, and doesn't look like we're going to see too many substitutions, if any at all, as we get underway now. Starting to kind of get the ball rolling in terms of Banjo kind of understanding that there is a match that they need to load in.
Yep. So far, we are seeing pretty good starts coming from everyone. Was just flickering for quite a bit, but it just looks to be now Brazil being able to take this one at the start. But there's still like about 90 seconds left to go before the end, so definitely not impossible for Spain, but they cannot afford to drop any accuracies, as especially with a shorter map, the score difference is going to be much greater than saying like a longer map.
And right on cue, ADR finds a drop for Spain, so that's one of the FCs gone, and that's gonna help balloon this lead for Brazil to about 21,000 points and climbing, because of the fact that, once again, Brazil, a very balanced team performance at the moment. And it was a pretty significant accuracy drop from ADR as well, down into the 98% range as they find another drop going into the last quarter, and that might be the final nail in the coffin for this attempt for Spain to try and mount a comeback on this pick. It was looking really close in that introduction, about 4,000 points separating the teams, but with the double miss not answered back, 3 FCs still on the board for Brazil. Going into the last eighth of the chart, there is very little Spain can do at this point to try and wrestle this lead back, if anything at all.
Yeah, that second break ADR had just gave Brazil a 10,000 point extension, and that's just what Brazil will need to be able to take this one, to make it 4-2 right now. Definitely, they're just 3-0 on LM maps, and with the breakpoint being on a very unusual protect pick from the opposing team. So it's just interesting now, for Spain, as I talked about. This is that mistake that they have made might, if things go the way they are, that SV pick from Spain might be their downfall, which really sucks considering they have been doing really well on the rice maps.
Well, I mean, they're not out of it just yet. There is one more LN pick, so more than likely Brazil's going to pick that to try and make it a match point situation. But then once that's said and done, getting that last point, where are you going to find it? Those hybrids kind of bring Spain back into the fold a little bit. If they're a little bit too rice heavy, they do have the accuracy to kind of overcome some of the LN struggles that they've been having. So it could get a little bit contentious here going into the last couple of picks. And Spain tried picking a banned map. Rice 3 is not allowed to be picked.
Yeah, I don't know if they know about it, or if
Might have forgotten. That was a while ago.
Yeah. Okay, they're gonna go with the jump stream map, Rice 2.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's a bold strategy trying to pick a banned map, but looks like they are going to opt to go for the jump stream pick. It is going to be Show Me Your Love coming through here. A little bit longer than some of the maps we have been seeing so far, 3 minutes. A bit of a stamina check for those that can't handle the BPM, but I think all 6 players that are going to be involved in this pick are going to be more than capable of swinging some pretty good performances on this.
Alrighty, so this map is 3 minutes long. It's definitely on the longest map in the Rice department. What I would typically expect from a jump stream map. So going to be some consistency and some stamina going to be tested out. OD of 8, so timing is not going to be too tense for these players. But it's just going to be pretty interesting to see how Brazil and Spain will do. As I mentioned earlier, especially with like when we were talking about like the potential second bans, I just think, you know, this is one of those maps I do see Brazil being competitive on if they just can work on their accuracies. And one player I will watch in particular is Linha. Linha with the with who struggled on, I believe, Rice 5. I think it might be interesting to see how will Linha will perform on Rice 2 in particular. If Linha can definitely rebound, I think this is going to be a much closer match on Rice 2.
Potentially. We're venturing into the territory of everybody can do it, so you better make sure you can do it when it counts the most. So good luck to all 6 players. I think we saw Sutton check in Z Curry as well for Brazil. No substitutions on the side. Actually, no, Adrig checking in for Spain to round out their respective rosters. And this is probably going to be flickering inside of 1,000 points between both countries for quite a long time. As we get through this build-up, we're gonna see the real meat and potatoes of this chart come through, and everybody handles the transition into the jump stream. Some of the snappings do change, some of the patterns do mix up a little bit. Some mini jacks thrown in there just for good measure, keeping you on your toes. And right now Spain takes a very slender advantage, less than 1,000 points once again, and we're going to see this tug of war going for minutes on end, going into the second quarter of the chart already.
Yeah, Brazil having a slight lead coming out of that beginning section, which really helps out a lot, but Spain is just holding on to the lead. It's just really some accuracy struggles coming from Sutton that is giving Spain the advantage, but a break could change everything. And I know, like with jump stream breaks, one potential chain break and that could entirely change. Z Curry will find a drop on that space jack section. I mean, it's not on a jump stream pattern, but that combo is definitely going to help Spain capitalize on Z Curry's mistake.
Oh, there's something to be said about ghost tapping break sections, and that entire time my eyes were drawn to their ghost tapping. It comes back to bite them during that break section. Going back into the build-up, needs to get back up to that 400 combo cap, needs to start recovering some of this accuracy. They've spotted Spain about 12,000 points just based off of that singular drop alone, and right now Sutton and Nuttelinia with it all to do to try and salvage what could have potentially been a breakpoint opportunity. Not the end of the world, but Adric finds the break in return going into the last 8th of the chart. Is there enough time? The lead has shrunk by half. It is about 5,000 points. Everybody else has enough accuracy. It's up to Cartographer, highest accuracy in this lobby, 99.8 at the moment, to try and hold it down for Spain at the moment, because the charge from Brazil is relentless. It is inside 4,000 points at the moment. Is there enough time?
I don't think so. It's just, I mean, no, there's still a chance, but it's just a last minute chain break, but it's just slowing down. It's just
Spain
my taking
goodness.
on this point. What a close call. But definitely that break on Z Curry could really cost the Brazil to be able to take a break, another break point to make it potentially 5-2 if that were to be the case. Spain just, I mean, with the break from Adrig, only taken like half of their lead. They had like a 8,000 point or about 7.7k to be precise, but only lost about 3,000 points. But Adric was able to quickly recover, and as it's all said and done, Spain able to barely take this one away. But they've just been really good. They've just been really consistent, and especially with Cartographier with that accuracy, 99.85. I think that was really impressive. But Brazil will now have the opportunity to take a second ban from Spain. So in terms of a potential Spain comeback, I think this may not help us. They're gonna ban Rice 1, so no more Rice maps left for Spain to pick. So it will just come down to the hybrids over on the side of Spain. But same could be said for Brazil, but considering how it has been 3-0 on the side of Brazil over on the LNs, I know like they're gonna have to pick, or I do see they're going to pick LN5, or maybe they could probably try to save up LN5 as like more of a trump card and just try to experiment with try to pick a hybrid. But LN5 still works. This is going to guarantee themselves maybe, I mean, maybe guaranteed themselves a match point scenario. So even regardless of the outcome, I mean, they will at least will play tiebreaker for sure.
Yeah, if things play out the way they're supposed to, this is probably going to be a Brazil pick. But I mean, there are so many questions that Rice 2 left, and I'm really glad that you pointed out basically the clutch performance from Cartographer to be able to kind of make up that score loss from the miss towards the end of Rice 2. I'm really glad you brought that up, because if that didn't happen and they lose, even if they just basically fall in line with everybody else in the 990k range, that's a Brazil win. And if Z Curry hangs on without that ghost tap drop, then this could potentially be for Spain's tournament life. But thankfully, they live to fight another day. Can they pull that break point back and kind of turn this match on its head? They have an opportunity to do so here. Let's see if they can do it, or if Brazil can secure themselves at worst a tiebreaker in this match.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting, as you mentioned. Versus, I mean, like we just seen throughout this match, Spain is unable to keep up or be able to respond to Brazil when it comes to these LM maps. This is definitely a territory that they're looking really uncomfortable in, and you know, just when Spain might have like something in mind, all of a sudden things just doesn't go right for them on these LM maps. So again, this is just Brazil's game that they're playing on these LNs, as we just seen throughout this whole match. So I mean, it'll be quite impressive if they are able to hold on, but Brazil's holding quite a big lead right now. The entire team is holding a 99.50% accuracy right now, but Cartographer is definitely keeping up with one of the players, but he really needs to rely on Mini Crimmy and ADR to be able to try and catch up to Brazil if they want any sort of chance to be able to earn a breakpoint of their own.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, to your point, it's like Brazil has really kind of staked their claim on these LN pools so far this tournament, and the consistency that they've shown on all 4 of the picks they've been allowed to play in this match is something to behold. Like, if they can continue this level of performance throughout the rest of this tournament, they're gonna be really scary to face moving forward should they find a win here. And for Spain, I mean, good attempts. These aren't bad scores by any stretch of the imagination. It's just the fact that they're just a step behind Brazil on these LNs as Cartographer finds the final drop. The tail was already set. Brazil 4 for 4 on the LNs, making it a match point, making it 5-3, and putting Spain up against the ropes now. What do they go for here? There are only hybrids left in this match.
I don't know. It might just have to be. It might just have. I mean, if Spain did their homework, and same can be said for Brazil. I think it might just have to come down to which maps may be tailored made for their primary skill sets, as we just see in Spain with or as we just see with Rice 2. It's definitely a lot more equal. So Spain is gonna have to try and find a map that may tailor mine into more of like a map that has like, say, a density, that will have like those density rice nodes that's going to throw Brazil off guard. But for Brazil, they're gonna have to pick a hybrid that has a lot more LNs that it may tailor line to their skill sets. I mean, especially with what we've seen with LM1, Brazil's definitely looking a lot more comfortable. It has been playing better when it comes to basically all aspects of the LNs. But consistency is something that Brazil is showing no struggle of, for sure, as Hybrid 1 is going to be picked for Spain, so definitely going to be interesting to see how will Spain and Brazil do on Hybrid 1.
Yeah, this is going to be no more room for error for Spain. And what better way to give yourself a cushion to work with than by picking one of the longest maps in this pool? It is going to be Sylvia coming out 4 minutes. I think this is the well-known chart of this. I don't think there's really many takes on it, if I'm remembering correctly. But it'll be interesting to see how they fare. We haven't seen any of the hybrids come through. And as it stands, I mean, it's really up to Brazil to prove that they can notch this final point to close this match out. Spain kind of playing with house money now, seeing what they can do, as we see Mortest checking in for the first time this match for Brazil. Unsure if it's a cameo appearance or if they are going to actually stick around and play this with Z Curry and Nutelinha as it stands, and it looks like they are. MP Star Command comes out, everybody readies up on command. Gonna get into what could potentially be the final map of this match, unless Spain has something to say about it.
Yeah, this map, Sylvia, this was used in the MWC 2020 in round of 16. So definitely going to be interesting to see how will these players play on a older MWC map, as we're seeing some technical difficulties coming from the side of Adrig. So hopefully we can get that fixed shortly.
Yeah, we'll see. Similar to one of the maps earlier on, where we'll just see the introduction again. So pay no mind to the massive score lead that Spain has at the moment. That is all but a ruse as we wait for Adrig to load in here. As it stands, I mean, everybody else hanging on strong. 99.7s across the board. Mini Creamy a little bit behind, a couple hundredths of a percent, kind of negligible through this introduction. There's still plenty of time for everybody to kind of meet up with each other in parity. And we just have that bit of a question mark at the moment with Adrig as we wait for things to continue on here. Get into the first drop. Nobody has found a drop just yet, as we have 5 of the players in at the moment, and still just consistent performances across the board for the 5 players that are playing. 99.7's cartographer again above everybody else. Z Curry coming up to meet them in that 99.8 range to try and contest, keep them in check, and Nutelinha finds the first drop. But there's still plenty of time here. We're only done with the first third at the moment. And like I said, we still have that question mark. How is Adrig doing as we get everything in sync? We might have a little bit of a goofy moment as we see, actually, no, they check in right on cue. So not a lot of a delay there. And it looks like they're holding strong as well. 3 FCs on the side of Spain to the 2 of Brazil. Spain holding on to the advantage by about 6,000 points as we get into the first row break section of the song midway through.
Yeah, alrighty. Okay. So, yeah, let's go. Okay. So, definitely a bit of technical difficulties here and there. I was trying to alert the streamer, but right now, we are seeing, Spain having a slight advantage over Brazil, but it's looking to be quite similar to what we're seeing with race 2. I mean, it was Nutelinha fighting the first drop. But it's just going to be interesting to see how well Brazil try to respond back. I mean, it's just Adrig and Cartography is holding a 99.84% as a duo, which is going to really help. And that accuracy is only slowly going to grow as well. It might just come down to Cartography's and Adrig's accuracy, as we're just about a quarter of the map left, or about 1 minute left to go. It's going to be really interesting to see if Spain can hold on.
And that is the real question. Can they hang on? Brazil has been hot on their tails this entire map so far. That one miss notwithstanding, Nutelinha has recovered astonishingly well back up into that 99.7 range, but it is still accounting for this 10,000 point lead that Spain has at the moment. Can they nurse it to the end? There are still 3 FCs left on their side of the board. They have crossed 3,000 combo as a team at the moment. Can they keep it clean through this outro? It looks like they can at the moment. There are no drops. Everybody is holding through. It would be absolutely heartbreaking if they were to find a drop this late on, but as the song begins to reach its ending, I think they have done enough. I don't think there are any tricks left up this map's sleeve, and as this song comes to an end, Spain keeps themselves alive. Mini Creamy with the final drop at the end. Unfortunate to lose the FC, but at the end of the day, all that matters is that 4th point in the back pocket. Can they get that break point now to force the tiebreaker to come out?
Yeah, I mean, a drop from Mini Creamy does suck, but I mean, not to discredit with Spain holding everyone just having 990s. Carta age rate 995, 993, 994k average as a duo, which is just really impressive. I mean, it's just going to be interesting to see what will Brazil pick now.
I actually don't know what the best pick for Brazil is in this situation. I mean, Spain did the favor getting rid of Sylvia. That's probably the most rice-heavy hybrid that we have in this pool. Plays to their strengths. There aren't enough LNs to really give them too much of a bother. And it looks like it's going to be Beast Base Bomb coming through here. Hybrid 4 is going to be Brazil's final pick in this match. It's either they win this outright or we go to that tiebreaker.
I mean, if what Hybrid 1 might give some sort of idea, I'm going to guess Hybrid 4 might be a bit more LN heavy. So already right off the gate, we're seeing or already right off the gate from my assumptions, this might just be this is probably Brazil's map to lose, but they're gonna have to be able to play Rice, and well, it's also vice versa for Spain. They're gonna have to be able to play through LN, something that they have been struggling with throughout this throughout the match against Brazil. Like, they can keep up with them for sure if what I have seen, but especially now we're going with a more LN heavier map, and considering Spain is 0-4 in LNs, it's just going to be interesting. This is really a must-win situation if they want to force a tiebreaker. And what worse way in this context than to try to be able to take a break point and potentially a last map that the opposing team will pick. Nerves are definitely high for a lot of these players, especially with like a lot of new players playing in. So I can only imagine the dread that these 6 players are gonna have to play through to carry the burden to be able to take the point away.
Yeah, for sure. So, nerves at an all-time high, potentially. This is Spain's last stand to try and do something about their tournament lives here, but it is not on a pick that they willingly chose. Can they pull it out of the bag? Making it through the introduction relatively unscathed. We're flickering back and forth. We're playing tug of war with this leaderboard as we make our way into the second quarter. This is half the length of Sylvia. This is going to amplify any of those misses should they come through. If we have 6 FCs, it's going to come down to raw accuracy alone. And as we have talked about, Brazil much better on the LN oriented charts so far, but is there enough Rice difficulty to bring Spain back into the equation? It looks like it's not, but Lutania finds the first drop, and that is going to shrink this lead for Brazil, and it's going to swing it back over to the side of Spain. Despite them basically growing their lead 7,000 points, it's gone in an instant as we make our way into the back half of the chart now.
Yeah, definitely. This is Nitalina has been one of the players has just been struggling with consistency, and now it might just, and especially as it was on the LN section, it might just be nerves. really coming in for Nutelinha. And it's just, this is definitely Spain's game now to be able to take this one away as we are approaching into the final KI right now. Nutelinha has definitely recovered with the 400 combo cap now, but the question is, can Spain hold off Brazil until the very end? It's just only a 4,000 point like about 4,000 point deficit right now. This is getting really close right now.
Oh, Namarin! Break! Spain is gonna be able to hold on. The three-way FC, they have done it! They have found the breakpoint at the 11th hour. It is 5-5, and we are going to a tiebreaker. The first one of the round of 16 weekend. It is going to be Game Makeover coming through now.
Man, I'm kind of okay. Personally, for me, I am kind of a bit sad because I have to get ready for work. But I mean, I could still hold off. So I can still hold off sometime. Don't worry. But
Listen, who needs work? Who needs work at a time like this? It is time to see which of these two countries is going to make it to the quarterfinals. Brazil having flashbacks to last weekend against Peru. They were in this situation already. They came out on the losing end of that tiebreaker, which is why they are here right now. Spain got swept last weekend, and they are forcing a tiebreaker against the 20th seed to try and punch their ticket into next weekend. So many things on the line for both of these two countries. Who are going to be the 6 players to throw down on this amazing custom song for the round of 16?
Yeah, that is just insane. Though this was I can only imagine the amount of regrets Brazil is going through right now, but they cannot just really cope with it just yet. They still have a tiebreaker to play. And I think for Nitalina and Namirin, 2 players in particular that did break on Hybrid 4, that is definitely a game changer over on the side of the blue team. Spain, up until now, we have learned that both teams are just really equal when it comes to, or not really equal, but it's more so like Spain just been outperforming Brazil on like the rice maps, and Brazil definitely outperforming Spain on like say the LN oriented maps. Aside from Hybrid 4, it really does make up the mistake that Spain costed themselves on that SV2 pick that they have made for themselves. And had Brazil would have actually won, that SV2 pick would have haunted them for sure. But I'm really glad for the red team to be able to make up for that mistake that have costed them, that have put themselves into that position at the start.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure in hindsight, both these countries will probably feel like they could have done things differently. And at the end of the day, gotta be able to put it behind you. You gotta keep looking forward, cannot dwell on the past. We can only look towards the future. No substitutions. It's gonna be Cartografia, Adric 3, Era, Mini Krimi going up against Namarin Chan, Zikuri, and Nutelinha on this tiebreaker, and some wretched starts for the side of Spain to open this map up. Gonna have plenty of time to recover from it, but we were just speaking about mistakes of the past. Will this come back to haunt them? It is 5 minutes that they need to endure. Can they do it?
Yeah, a very, very unusual start from Cartographiar with just not being able to hit those 4 inverse LNs just right off the gate. This is going to give Brazil a really early lead so far, which is going to be interesting to see how will Spain be able to respond back after that unusual start. But
yeah,
from what we've seen from Carto, I would be surprised if he is able to catch up to Brazil. but it's just going to be really tough as he did put himself in that position. And Adric will find a drop just as when we are able to hit into a Ki.
Yeah, it's going to help grow this advantage for Brazil. All 3 FCs still left on their side of the board. None, I believe, for the side of Spain. I think actually Mini Crimi might still be holding on to theirs, just might have had something, but Cartographer finds a drop before transitioning back into this bit of a break section. Still only in the second quarter of the chart as it stands, but it is 18,000 points in favor of Brazil for the moment. It is a very LN heavy introduction. It is unsurprising that they have managed to eke out an advantage through this section so far. There are some heavy rice sections upcoming. This might be an opportunity for Spain to begin to build up. We have seen consistency be a bit of a pain point for this Brazilian roster on some of these rice sections before, so this might be a prime opportunity for Spain to claw back some of this deficit. But as it stands, Brazil manages to hang on through the first test, and we transition back into some of these calmer LNs.
I mean, if Brazil can be able to hold on with this rice sections, it might just be lights out. As you know, this is going to be really tough for Spain, assuming if no one from Brazil is going to break. It's just going to give an opportunity for Brazil to be able to take this one away, and time is definitely on Spain's side, and definitely with the LNs is not helping. But Namiran and Adric will break at the same time, but I think Adric got the much shorter stick of things, as the lead is now extended by 4,000 right now. The deficit is at 28k and growing. This is not the performance that Spain wanted. And Carto dropping, releasing, letting go of the note too early on that LN section. Oh man, this is not looking good. Namiran will find a drop, but this deficit is now at 32k right now.
Oh, Nutalinga and Namiran finding equal breaks on this following section. Going into the last quarter, it is a 1v1 at the moment. Z Curry and Mini Crimi, the only 2 remaining FCs in the lobby as it stands. It is still 30,000 points that Spain needs to claw back, but it is slowly starting to shrink. It is going down by the 1,000, starts to steady up once again as both Nutalinga and Namiran starts to cross over that 400 combo cap, gonna right the ship, but Namiran unable to get back up over that 400 combo mark. It is 24,000 points. There's still a quarter of the map left to go, but Carto finds another break that is gonna help stem the bleeding from this Brazilian side. They have built up enough of a cushion. Is there enough time for Spain to try and do something in this outro? They have had a pretty torrid time on this tiebreaker as it stands, but as things start to calm down once again, that was their best opportunity. We go back into an LN section. The outro is upon us, and I think it might be done and dusted. A valiant effort from the Spanish roster, but unfortunately not going to be enough at the end of the day. As the last couple of notes come down, it is going to be a double FC as it stands. There's still a couple of notes left to read through for Mini Crimi and Z Curry. And it will be Brazil punching their ticket into the lower bracket quarterfinals, able to right the wrongs of last weekend against Peru by a score of 6-5. Very well played from both of these lineups.
Yeah, that was a match, as it really just came down. Brazil was able to capitalize on the mistakes Spain. A very unusual start from Carto. Really was just the start of a domino chain for Brazil to be able to take this one away. The breaks that Carto and Adric had really was just the icing on the cake, as the map progressed as Brazil, Navirenzi, Curry, Mordis, Villanova, Minho, Vitalinha, and Sutin. Obrigado to you guys, as you guys will be advancing to the losers quarterfinals, taking on either the loser of Sweden versus Canada, and I think that is just going to be yet another interesting matchup between two teams, with one team in a rebuilding year with 4 new players, and Hollow the Wise and Robert returning from last year's roster that finished in 3rd place, taking on a Sweden team that has grown so much from 2023 to 2024. But as for Spain, I mean, they can hold their heads high. I mean, after starting off the tournament 0-5 against the United States, they have definitely given us a performance to remember from this year so far. And as for Brazil and Spain, I will reach out to you guys right now, actually. So give me some time to be able to come up with the questions, as you guys will be featured on this week's article. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I look forward to that. Pork has been doing a fantastic job trying to keep the media center going for this edition of the 4-Digit Mania World Cup. But that will do it for this block of 1 match. We'll be taking a tiny bit of a break. We'll be back in about 2 hours time, 22:15, the goofiest of times, if I do say so myself, for the aforementioned Sweden versus Canada match. But until then, we'll catch you guys later.
See ya.